teacher Mazy and welcome back to my math tutorial YouTube channel. Okay, so for this video, I will discuss about the lattice method. Lattice method is a mechanical procedure in multiplying polynomials. So you can multiply any polynomials using this method. So how do we use it? Okay, so first is you need to draw a box like this one. So this is the lattice box here, and the number of columns and rows depends on the numbers of terms in the given. So for this time, we have two binomials here. So we have two terms and another two terms. So the box is 2 by 2. Okay, so two columns and two rows. So each column is for the numerical coefficient of the first factor, and the rows here is for the numerical coefficient of the second factor. Okay, so for example, for the first factor, so we have 3 and 7. So positive 3 and positive 7. Next, for the numerical coefficient of the second factor, so we have 2 and negative 3. So don't forget to write the sign. The next step is we need to put zeros below the diagonal line of each box. So 0 here, 0, 0, and another 0. Next is we need to multiply the entry of each column by the entry of each row. Okay? So that is 3 times 2 is equal to 6. Next is 7 times 2, that is equal to 14. Next, for the second row, so we have 3 times negative 3, that is equal to negative 9. And then 7 times negative 3, that is equal to negative 21. Now for the step 4 is we need to get the sum of the entries for each diagonal. Okay, so let's begin from the bottom. So this one, this diagonal, that is equal to 0. Next diagonal. So to make it clearer, itong diagonal. Okay? So that is 0 plus negative 21 is equal to negative 21 plus 0, that is negative 21. Next diagonal, so we have 14 plus negative 9, that is equal to 5, positive 5, and 6 here. These sums correspond to the numerical coefficient of the product. So let's write it. So that is 6x plus 5x minus 21. To determine the degree of the product, we need to look at the literal coefficient of the first factor. So we have x and x here. So this is raised to 1 and another raised to 1. We can use the laws of exponents, the first law of exponents. So that is 1 plus 1. That means the degree is 2. So the highest degree here is 2, 1, and then the constant. So this is the answer for this given. So again, 3x plus 7 multiplied by 2x minus 3 is equal to 6x squared plus 5x minus 21. So let's have another given. So this time, we have 3 terms. Okay, so we have 3 terms for each factor. So we have 5x squared plus 2x minus 6, and the other one is 3x squared plus x plus 9. So first is, let's write the numerical coefficient of each factor, which is 5, 2, and negative 6. Next, for the second factor, so we have 3, and then Again, since this is x, that means coefficient is 1 and positive 9. Okay, next step, again, let's put zeros below each diagonal line. So after putting zeros below each diagonal line, now we can multiply each column entries by the row entries. Okay, 5. Dito muna tayo sa first row. So 5 times 3, that is equal to 15. 2 times 6, that is equal to 6. And negative 6 times 3 is equal to negative 8. Next, for the second row, so 5 times 1 is equal to 5. 2 times 1 is equal to 2. And negative 6 times 1 is equal to negative 6. Next, for the third row, 5 times 9 is equal to 45. 2 times 9 is equal to 18. And of course, negative 6 times 9 is equal to negative 54. So, after multiplying, now we need to add the entries in each diagonal. Okay? So, let's start from the bottom. So, this diagonal, that is 0. Next, 0, negative 54, and then 0. That is equal to negative 54. Next, 0 plus negative 6 is negative 6 plus 0 plus 18 plus 0. That is equal to 12. Okay. Next is negative 18 plus 2 is equal to negative 16 plus 45. For the next diagonal, we have negative 18 plus 2 plus 45. That is positive 29. Okay. Next, 6 plus 5 is equal to 11. And of course, the last one, we have 15. Okay, now let's determine the degree by adding the exponent of the first literal coefficient. So that is 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So that means 4 is our highest degree. Okay, now let's arrange our polynomials in standard form. So first is this one, 15 x, and then the highest degree, which is 4. Next is positive 11, positive 11. The degree is 3. Then plus 29 x squared. And of course, next is 12 x minus 54. Okay, so as you can see, the highest degree is 4. And then, it decreases hanggang makarating sa constant. So, from 4, next is 3, 2, 1, and then the constant. Okay? So, that is the answer for this given. 5x squared plus 2x minus 6 multiplied by 3x squared plus x plus 9 is equal to 15x raised to 4 plus 11x cubed plus 29x squared plus 12x minus 54. Now, for this next given is we have x raised to 4 minus 2x minus 5 and multiplied by 3x raised to 4 plus 1. So, kung napapansin nyo, the highest degree is 4 here, and then ang sumunod is 1 na yung exponent. So, we need to write this factor properly by writing the missing term. Okay, so for the first factor, let's rewrite it. So, that is x raised to 4 plus 0 x cubed Yan. So, since ang nawawala natin is the cube and the squared, so, we will add 0 and then x squared. Okay? Ayan yung isusulat kapag may nawawalang term. Next is minus 2x minus 5. Okay? Next is we have 3x raised to 4 and then ang sumunod niya is constant na. So, we need to write the missing terms. 3x raised to 4 plus, the operation is always addition, okay? Plus 0x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x and then the constant, which is 1. So now, as you can see, we have 5 terms here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another 5 terms from the second factor. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So unlike dito sa given na meron lang 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, and 2 terms for the second factor. So to use the lattice method, you need first to expand or write the missing terms before you start writing the numerical coefficient. Okay? So now, let's write the numerical coefficient for the first factor. So the first one is 1. Next is 0. The other one is 0. And negative 2. Then negative 5. Next, for the second factor, let's write the numerical coefficient in each row. So we have 3, 0, 0, 0, and then 1. Okay, now let's write zeros under each diagonal line. Okay, so after writing zeros under each diagonal line, now we can multiply the entries for each column by entries from each row. So let's begin with the first row. So that is 1 times 3 is equal to 3. So 0 times 3 is equal to 0. So any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. So 0 times 3 again is equal to 0. And of course, negative 2 times negative 3, that is negative 6. Negative 5 multiplied by 3 is negative 15. Okay, next row. So since this is 0, so 0 ang ating multiplier, so 0 na lahat ng entry or lahat ng product. Next, this is also 0, so is 0 na yun natin. And of course, same with the fourth row. Okay, now we are in the last row. So 1 times 1 is equal to 1. 0 times 1 is equal to 0. Same with the second column. Next is negative 2 multiplied by 1, that is negative 2. And negative 5 times 1, that is negative 5. Okay? Next step, add each entry. Okay, this one, that is 0. Next diagonal, 0, negative 5, 0. That is equal to negative 5. Then 0, 0, 0, negative 2. All of this is 0. 0 also. Next, this diagonal, negative 15 plus 1 is equal to negative 14. Negative 6, and then all of them are 0, so this is negative 6. 0, 0, and then 3. So now, let's see the highest degree for this given by adding the exponents of the first term. So we have 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. So that means the highest degree is 8. Okay, so since it is a very long polynomial, ayan, so I put it on the top. Okay, so let's arrange. So 3x, 0x plus 0x minus 6x minus 14x, 0, 0x, 0, 0x here, and then negative 2x, and then minus 5. So since the highest degree here is 8, put 8 here, and then in decreasing order. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the constant. Okay? Now we can drop the terms with 0 numerical coefficient because 0 times x, that is equal to 0, right? Yan. So to get the final answer, let's write all the non-zero terms. Okay, so that means the final answer is 3x raised to 8, this one, minus 6x raised to 5, minus 14x raised to 4, and then minus 2x raised to 1, and the constant, which is 5. Okay, so that's it. That is the final answer. So, x raised to 4 minus 2x minus 5 multiplied by 3x raised to 4 plus 1 is equal to 3x raised to 8 minus 6x raised to 5 minus 14x raised to 4 minus 2x raised to 1 minus 5. So, since this is 1, pwede na natin imisa. Okay? Okay, now, for this given, we have x cubed minus x minus 2, and then x squared plus 3x plus 9. Okay, so here is another tip so that you can easily identify how many columns and rows you need to write. Okay, so all you have to do is to look at the exponent of the first term and then add 1. Okay, add 1. So that is 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. So that's why we have 4 columns here. The next factor is a squared. So x squared. So this is 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So that's why we have 3 rows here. Okay, now let's write the numerical coefficient. Oh, first, we have x cubed here. So that is 1. Since there is no numerical coefficient present, so automatically its numerical coefficient is 1. Next is, since we are missing the squared, so that means that squared is 0. And this one is negative 1. And negative 2. Okay, so next is, we have x squared. So, its numerical coefficient is 1 again. Next is positive 3 and positive 1. Okay, now let's write zeros below each diagonal line. Okay, so after putting zeros below each diagonal line, let's multiply the entries for from each column to the entries for each row. So 1 times 1 is equal to 1. 0 times 1 is equal to 0. Negative 1 times 1 is equal to negative 1. Negative 2 times 1 is equal to negative 2. Okay, next for the second row. 1 times 3 is equal to 3. 0 times 3 is equal to 0. Negative 1 times 3 is equal to negative 3. Negative 2 times 3 is equal to negative 6. Next, the last row. 1 times 1, that is 1. 0 times 1 is 0. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. And negative 2 times 1 is equal to negative 2. Okay, now let's get the sum of the entries for each diagonal. Let's begin with the corner, with this corner, that is 0. Next is negative 2 plus zeros, that is negative 2. Negative 6 plus negative 1, that is negative 7. Negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. And then negative 1 plus positive 1, that is equal to 0. So 0, 0 plus 3 is equal to 3 and 1. Okay, now let's determine the degree. The degree of our polynomial. So we need to add the exponent of the first term. So that is 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So 5 is the highest degree for this polynomial. So let's write it. That is 1x raised to 5. Next is plus 3, since that is positive. 3x raised to 4 plus 0x raised to 3, 5x raised to 2, and negative 7x minus 2. Okay, so from the highest degree, pababa, so it is decreasing by 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now since x cubed has 0 numerical coefficient, we can drop it or not include it to our expression. Okay, so that is the final answer. Okay, so that's how you use the lattice method in multiplying polynomials. So you can multiply any polynomials using this method. And so for more videos like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you on my next videos. Bye!